Oh, well, hello, hello. It is 13:35 hours. So doing an afternoon here. Uh, excuse my coughing. Did a little international travel and came back with some travel crud. So I've got myself in a little bit of a quarantine so that I don't do the Hawaiian Islands kind of thing, bringing in an XO bug. Anyway, um, yeah, so I was on the airplane and I noticed the USB seat back connector was had legending. You could do it either way. US in terms of the installation, and it'd have the legend would be up, which amused me to no end because USB-A is not symmetrical across 180-degree rotation. So I guess that's what quantum mechanics spin one half. Man, for it was one of those things for a very short period of time. I saw somebody, I saw a physics lecture on spin, and with spin two and that which seems counterintuitive in the macro space. Uh, but they explained it well, and I got it. But it was one of those things I can only hold on to for like 2 weeks, and now I can't really remember the philosophy behind it that really explained it to me. The mystery of spin two. Um, so yeah, that's a shame. And I have no idea where that lecture went, so I'll never be able to find it, I suppose. But it did anyway. But I digress. But the USB connection, the port, you could, have it either way, and USB-A is not, as I was saying, not rotationally symmetrical. There's an up and a down to it, and it looks to me like the got it traditionally the wrong way. Uh, where the tongue I think should be on the bottom. And it's that thing where it's one of those nobody really notices, but it's supposed to be the USB logo, whatever they've decided to put on the connector, the USB-A connector, should be face up as in terms of proper orientation. Often it's the USB symbol. That's what it's supposed to be, but I've got cables that have like a little smiley face or whatever logo is, but the logo is supposed to be up when you install it. So just kind of funny that they had that, and I think it's in the USB spec. They had that. I have a friend who recently retired from Panasonic that worked on the in-flight entertainment system and all that whole deal, and mentioned he mentions the second most expensive part of the airplane, I guess, besides the engine system, besides that. But they're really changing it with. I don't know that much about it. I didn't get into it with them in terms of um, now everybody's power is requirements are way bigger. You know, with QC, quick charge, and PD power distribution. Powering laptops and things off of USB-C computer charging. Uh, we're looking at 100 watts plus. A lot of the wall warts now. I just had to go through kind of my wall warts and oh, you know, replace those and my charge hubs and stuff because so much of it now is I don't know what is it? What is we PD 3.1 now? But we're looking at even my bricks are 130 watts, 150 watts, stuff like that, and my tabletop chargers are more in the 300 watt, 240, 300 watt things, that I just have around for general charging guests that always come by, and I need to charge my iPhone or what have you. And that's really really changed. Uh, yeah, like I'm looking at the one on my desktop right now, and I've got uh, Smart One, what QC 3.0, and then Smart Ports 2 or PD at 65 watts, and PD 3.0 at 65 watts, but I've got others that are like 100 watts. Uh, yeah, so it's just an interesting change, but it's interesting to see that. And then you've got oh, the AC plug there, which on the seat backs. which is just, it's funny that we have that design lock in. I think, that we've got six, at least in the United States where I am, we're running uh, 60 cycle AC, at 110, 120 volt type deal, and the funny how big, that's it's funny how much of that, how much of electronics, even our light bulbs and stuff, the LED light bulbs, gets knocked down to 24 volt, 12 volt, 5 volt DC, and it's just originally, the deal is it's like we use the high voltage AC, because you can transformers need that flux, need the alternation to create the inductive fields to do the voltage conversion. So we really pump up the voltage to send them across the high tension lines, the high voltage lines, for to mitigate transmission loss, and then we bring that into the home and we drop a good deal of it. We still, and we drop that to about 120. Drop that into the house, or 240, depending on if what then you split that legs off. Uh, but it's just kind of funny that how much of our electronics runs on much lower DC voltage, but we still, and I don't think we'll have that design, that standard of, we just do it at the equipment, instead of running the house on, or having a second layer of centralized DC, uh, throughout the house, throughout the home. But I mean, I get it. We see it. We see the right now. We see the technology, the voltage changing so often, and so you know, uh, it's all in flux. So I guess it makes sense. But it is funny that we have these, right at the point of performance as we're doing the conversion, the power conversion. Uh, we've got the 60 cycle hum, and the 50 cycle for other places. Canada, I believe, is still 50 cycle, which is funny because the old Hammond organs, uh, the tone wheel organs, would use the 60 cycles actually as sort of the system clock to regulate the tuning and the timing of the organ. And then you take a U.S. organ and put it in Canada, and it wouldn't be correct because it was expecting 60 cycles, but using 50 cycles, so everything would run a little slow, and it would be all out of tune and wacky weird. Um, yeah, so that's just my thought on that. I learned a little bit from my buddy about the in-flight internet. That's all satellite, and it's funny. Starlink has kicked everybody's ass on that in terms of the antenna technology. Their antenna technology is a lot better. They only need one penetration instead of like 30 penetrations in the and the antennas, like something like 10 pounds or 4 pounds or something, as opposed to 70 pounds. It's just crazy. Um, and that's not political with the Musk or anything like that. I'm just talking about just the antenna as it is. Um, I'm not gonna. I don't know. I don't the politics, but anyway, those are my musings just about power on the airplane. Uh, and it's funny to get in there. Oh, one thing I always think that's funny, and then some people are embarrassed when I have to show them, which they shouldn't be because they never tell you. On the external, on the seat, the seat row, the external arm of the seat arm, comes up, and all you do is you go along the seat arm and put your hand on the bottom and feel your way all the way to the back, kind of where it stops. If you push up, there's a little indentation. There's a little button up in there. It's kind of like a little, usually just like a little rubber nub, a little rubber, almost like the uh, little, I say rubber metal nub that, when you expand a pole on, say, an Easy Up tent or something, there's that little metal nub, or on old uh, umbrellas where you have to push it in to to get it to collapse, and you pinch your fingers in it. Uh, there's it feels like that, and you just press that little nub, and that arm swings up out of the way, so it's a lot easier to get in and out. But I don't know where I picked that up, but I still wind up showing people pretty much every time that exists, and it just makes it a lot easier. I don't know that if it's they just don't want people messing with it that much, but there's nothing they can say about it, especially if you've got an infirmity. Uh, so you can just do that. Yeah, but anyway, I just wanted to muse about that kind of stuff because I just thought it was kind of funny. Yeah, coming back with the travel crud though. Oof, dry heaved last night. That was one of those awful, awful things where I think it was just the postnasal drip from being sick that got it into my belly. And, when I went to dry heave, there was nothing in my stomach. Eventually it kicked up, I think, the mucus from the postnasal drip, but it was just one of those where it just tightens your stomach and you feel like you're getting an ab workout and you're trying to tell yourself, Tommy, there's nothing in you. Please don't do that. And you're in the middle of the process, so you can't even try to slam some water or something to make it feel better. But it was one of those just traumatizing dry heaves. Oh, and it just kind of, ended the night for me. And I was just stayed awake, and my doggies kind of gathered around me, and they knew I wasn't feeling well and sort of protected me. Oh, so I am going to take it easy today and try to get some motion because, to get some lymph transport tends to be passive, and muscular motion helps with that, the pumping action, kind of like the frog on a horse's hoof. Um, anyway, have a great day.